That's to this side. We'll make it work.
We got love for you over here, man. All the room in the world, you can slip right in.
Oh, I'm down here?
Yeah, you're down here.
My fellow Americans, bring me great joy to stand in front of you and tell you we can do better than this. We fucked up, but we can come back.
I wish you'd go on and continue on that thread like that.
I could do it, bro.
Good? Good. All right, Uriah, that was obviously an impressive finish, but it wasn't easy. I mean, he came at you hard in the first round. You know, what was it about that took you time? Like, why did it take such a long time to get that finish? What was it about his style?
You know, the kid is a stud, first of all. He came at me with a lot of unorthodox strikes. For me personally, I decided to do the rope-a-dope, but I decided to do that around, I believe, midway throughout the second fight. I was like, he's hitting me with everything hard. He's hurting me, but I've noticed he's getting tired. So if I can dictate the fight by pressing a little bit, it would create an opening. And the third round, you know, I did that and it happened. But even prior to that, he was really good. I just couldn't find the footing. My rhythm was off. I was like, what's going on with my footing and everything? But, you know, the rope-a-dope worked a little bit, and I just kind of went off of it.
And you must have been feeling some sense of urgency going into that third round, because, I mean, like you said, he's a stud. He was coming at you hard. Yeah,
there was definitely urgency. I heard my coaches yelling at me, but, you know, I had some demons in my head, some personal stuff that was going on, and my hand was on the gun, but for some reason I couldn't pull the trigger. I felt like I needed to press forward to pull that trigger. And once it happened so fast. I was like, oh, crap, it worked. And I just jumped on him, but they stopped it.
Were you surprised how hard he came out right away? Because as a young kid, you know, prospect coming in, you know, there's sometimes jitters, and he was kind of right in your face right away.
Oh, it was expected, man. Listen, you go up against a guy like me, they calling me a veteran, all that stuff. It was expected. If he can take my confidence away, and we all know in fighting it's all about that mindset, he was trying to do that. He did first couple minutes, and I was like, wow, this kid is actually really good. Couldn't really find anything, but I was still trying to look for something. But what I did see is he's getting a little nervous when it wasn't working. So I just waited for that right moment, and it happened.
Is that patience a relatively new thing for you? Is that something that, because I mean, when you came into the game, of course, we all know about your skills and everything, but right. That veteran, that kind of gamesmanship, that veteranship, is that something that kind of has come recently?
Not exactly. The game is changing, you know. You look at when Amanda fought Ronda. You know, Ronda was dominating everyone, but no one was on Ronda's level. And then people started to catch up. And then when Amanda decided to jump in on that, you saw the difference. And not to take anything away from Ronda, she's one of the best to ever do what she does. But people like me, you have up-and-comers that are constantly growing. The sports is changing. It's constantly evolving. So, you know, I have my patience because I'm a martial artist and I have a karate background. But sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good to wait too long. But for me, it was always that articulate patience, timing to take away that, to create an opening to pretty much exploit it, basically.
Did you see anything that he was doing that kind of left open, that counter, that right hand?
You know what? He would swing that right hand, and I was like, I just got to time that right hand. I got to time that right hand. But as I was going back, he was throwing it. And I worked a lot of balance techniques. You know, for me, I work on throwing any technique from off balance. That way I can still keep my power. And I have my coach, John Walker, to thank for that. I moved back at a certain angle, and as I was coming back, my force was still generating properly. And I didn't think I would hurt him that much because he was out. So,
actually, almost kind of scary. His eyes were
it was a little out of moment again. I was like, oh, crap, what did I do?
You had a moment afterwards where you walked over to the cage immediately after, and you could see a lot of emotion on your face. You talked a little bit in your post-fight speech, or was it more about just being able to deal with the adversity in that particular fight, and you came from behind? What was going through your mind immediately after that fight?
It was definitely adversity, man. Between the hiccup that happened this week, I became a professional about it. You know, it happens. I said, you know what? In the sport of mixed martial arts, something's going to go wrong that you don't expect, so I have to readjust. You know, if someone's outboxing me, maybe I should take him down or kick him in the leg. But, you know, I was going through some personal stuff with families, and when that happened, it just came out because I was fighting for more than myself. You know, I was fighting for my sister. I was fighting for my mom. You know, I didn't talk about it because I didn't want any sympathy. You know, I knew what I had to do, and I used it motivation. My sister wrote a song called "Keep Standing." That's why I walked out to it, and she said she was inspired to write that song when I broke my toe. But the funny thing is, I'm inspired by that song to fight. So it worked so perfectly for us, and you know, she accomplished so much in her life. She's married with kids, and we've seen people that go through depression, like someone like Robin Williams, where you never thought in a million years someone like that who's so happy. And when something like that happened, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But when it's happening to someone I care about, it was like, wow, it's really real. And people are really going through this. So when I saw my sister was going through that, I felt like I had to be some kind of positive reinforcement to let her know that, hey, I failed so much on probably the biggest stage in the world, and everyone gets to see me do it. Not everyone gets to see people fail, but everyone gets to see me do it. So if everyone sees me do it and I keep standing, it's a reminder to say, hey, you got to keep standing too, because I haven't figured out a way how to quit.
Did you have a chance to talk to your sister after the fight?
I haven't spoken to her yet. You know, she's a stud, man. I love her so much. I haven't got a chance to speak to her yet, but I did tell her I'm going to walk out to her song, and she was extremely happy and excited about it. So any form of positive reinforcement I can be to her, I'm at her service.
Is she back in New York?
Yeah, she lives in New York City, yeah.
Did something happen in her life that catalyst for this? Or?
I mean, I don't want to go too much in detail, but I personally think for most people, and I don't know who in here can relate to it, there's going to come a point where you either want to stop, quit. I know I've been there thousands of times, whether you guys are reporting journalists and other people in your ear, or if you've fallen or failed, it's going to happen. And you either have that choice to say, okay, I can keep fighting, or I'm done with this and move on. And I felt for her, being that she was always so successful, maybe she probably couldn't handle that loss of certain things in her life that wasn't going so well, whether it's, you know, going through a divorce, losing her business. And it happens, man. It happens in life. You know, you're not always going to succeed at everything, but the idea is to say, okay, what can I take from it and move forward? So I think not having the right support system, that's when most people fail and fall. And when I heard about her situation, I know how delicate it was, so I don't want to not be there and hear some bad news, so I decided to be there as much as I can.
Is that one of the reasons why you wanted to?
I'm
sorry?
What's your next game plan to get that UFC?
Chill and eat. You know, my buddy Kelvin is up. I've been training with him at King's MMA. I decided to make a change. I'm heading back out there to spar, and probably not a good idea, but I'm heading back out there to train with him. Yeah, he's up. Right now I'm just chilling, man. I'm glad I ended the year with a better bang than the last fight. But in the sports of mixed martial arts, it's all about growing. You know, you get knocked down. For me as a professional, it's like, what did I do wrong? How can I resuscitate and just get better? That's it.
That's the spirit of warrior, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you sing a song for us?
What? I can't sing a song right now. I can do voiceovers, but I can't sing.
All right, guys.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Uriah.
This way? Okay.
Hey guys, just want to let everybody know. Hey guys, while I have you here for 1 second, earlier today we announced, partnership with Jon Jones Jr. for Fight Pass. So Roy's here. He's going to come in here if you guys want to ask him some questions real quick. See if I can squeeze him. I'm not liable right now. We have a signing with
It's heavy.
All right, guys.
How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm great, as always.
Talk about this deal with Fight Pass and what it means. It's 72, possibly 72 cards within the next 3 years.
Well, for me, it's a great opportunity because with boxing, with things happening, as you know, HBO backed out now. We're still looking for ways to continue to promote boxing. And you got the zoners coming in, but this situation, because of how good and how much recognition the UFC has drawn, I've been looking for somebody like Dana who was innovative and creative enough to be able to give me some room to work. And now him doing this, giving us these 72 dates, gives us room to work, gives us opportunity to start reaching out, helping the little guys get an opportunity to shine. So I am so delightful and delighted that we got the opportunity to join forces with them.
A lot of times it seems like boxing fans and MMA fans are kind of at each other's throats about like they're competing constantly, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Do you think this is perhaps the start of like, I don't know, a better relationship between the sports?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a better start, but the problem most people are, if you're an athlete, and honestly, if you're a really honest athlete, you have respect for anybody who goes in that ring or that cage and puts their life on the line. As you see from Adonis Stevens a couple weeks ago, he just came out of a coma, thank God, a couple days ago. But when you go in a boxing match or a UFC fight, MMA fight, anything can happen. So for me, anybody who bashes the other sport is really being disrespectful, because these guys in both sports, I don't care which one it is, they put their lives on the line at the expense of their families and for the viewing audiences. So for me, it's a perfect marriage, because I can't see why a person could like one style of fighting and not like the other. One may be a little bit different, but they still, when you boil it down to the bottom of the line, I'd rather my kid be out there fighting another man to man than to be somewhere in a gang shooting or somebody drive by and shoot him. So because if he loses a fight, he can get up like a man, go get himself back together and come back and win or revenge that fight. But if he gets caught in the shooting, it's over with for him. So I'd much rather my kid be fighting than to be gang banging or something like that.
Recruiting some new talent to be on your fight zone.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. My thing is to recruit as much talent as possible. I want to start raising and seeing and developing the future champions of tomorrow. And what else it gives me an opportunity to do is we're also trying to enlarge in the female boxing hemisphere. So I definitely want to bring more female boxing, and a lot of the female boxers are CrossFit girls who also do MMA, do other things. So having that part of it, now we can have more of the hybrid shows where we have sometimes the boxer goes MMA and fights the MMA girl MMA style, or like Anderson wants to do, the MMA guy come in and say you want to whoop the champ. So there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities that he has created in just even making this marriage.
What's your prediction on Pacquiao and Broner?
I have no prediction on Pacquiao and Broner. What I am here for tonight, I don't really know how that's going to go. But right now, I'm so excited because I want to see Nunes and Cyborg. And bigger, I want to see Jon Jones and whatever his name is.
Are you merging to MMA now?
Huh?
Are you merging to MMA?
No, but I always was a fan because like I just told you,
You're a boxer.
anybody who fights, you got my heart. Because I know what it takes to go in there and fight.
Yes, sir.
Rory, why did you pick Fight Pass over DAZN, ESPN Plus, other streaming services that have really invested into boxing recently?
My reason for picking this one is because of a relationship that I had a long time ago with Dana White. Me and Dana became friends back when I was somebody and he was not yet known to the world. And the friendship that we developed, even back then, him knowing how I am as a person, gave him extra respect and love for me. Because I showed him love when I didn't have to. When I wasn't, but it wasn't like I was that type of person. So I think he understood me, and I think he loved my character. And so I figured if I get the opportunity outside HBO to work with somebody, if Dana's available, that's going to be my first option, because that's a friend and it's a long time developed relationship. He ain't forget me, just like I didn't forget him. So in our story, for me, it's like they tell people never forget where you come from, and always be careful how you treat people, because you don't know who this person's going to be tomorrow. And look who Dana White is today. And this relationship is because how I treated him yesterday when I was up there and he was down there. You feel me? That's why we always were right here. Even when I was there, I treated him as though we were right here. And so right now today, we still right here.
Chris Cyborg has expressed interest.
Hey, excuse me.
Do you still want to box Anderson?
Do I want to box Anderson? I'm retired.
Chris Cyborg has expressed interest in boxing. How do you think she would do as a boxer?
I think she'll do really well as a boxer. The only thing is that she'd have to have a fight or two just to get herself used to that atmosphere. And then I think she'll do really well. That's why, like he said, that's why I always didn't mind trying to fight Anderson when he said he wanted to do it, because I knew he had previous boxing experience. So if a person has boxing experience, then they got the opportunity to fight because they know what they're dealing with. If you don't have boxing experience, it's a little different.
So you mentioned you're a fan of MMA. Who are some of your favorite fighters to watch?
Well, you know, Anderson was my favorite. Jon Jones was my favorite. I work with my man Rashid Evans. I work with my other man. Overeem. It's so many guys I love. I love Cyborg, Holly Holm, one of my favorite. I love a lot of guys. You know, Uriah Hall was one of my favorites. So I love all the guys that fight. You feel me? Anybody that fights and who's good at it, I love them. I mean, just because I have nothing but the utmost respect for fighters. So when you see me at fights or with guys or taking pictures with guys, it's like I don't discriminate because I got the same love for fighters as I have for myself, because I know what they go through and I know what they're willing to do to prove that they're the best in front of people. Don't get no braver than that.
Your first main event is Ashton Galate, the main event. Is that sort of the level of fights that you're looking at?
Huh?
Your first fighter, first main event, is Ashton Galate, former title challenger. Is that sort of the level of main events you're looking at?
Yeah, that's sort of the level, and it's going to hopefully even get better, because my job is, now that we have the situation, is to create competition even for the other networks. You know, I want to create a female fighter to go fight the Zone's female fighter, Katie Taylor. I want to create my own heavyweight to go challenge for the heavyweight title. Our heavyweight from UFC Fight Pass, Jon Jones Jr. Promotions. We want to create a heavyweight that can can join that big mix.
How would that work with Fight Pass for Zone? Would the fight be on Fight Pass because it's your promotional? Or
Well, you know,
work out deals for the fight?
As boxing promoters, we'll have to make deals for the fights. You know, you saw HBO and Showtime do it, so we all can do it. But our goal is to become a name, become another player, a major player in the sport of boxing, just like they already run the UFC. So if we can become a major player in boxing, it just gives us more credibility.
Are we seeing you fully retire from commentating and more as a promoter now? Is that sort of the transition you're having now?
No, I still may do a little commentary, you know, you never know. I may do a little commentary. I mean, once we get this thing rolling right, if we get good enough fights, start getting big enough fights, I may even be commentating here. Who knows? So my goal is to build us up a fighting stable, to make people understand and get people more familiar with boxing like they used to be, and then whatever happens, happens. Because it's only better for the sport. What we want to see is just like, this is the good thing about UFC. UFC has one thing. So you can see the big fighter fight the big fighter. You can see the top name fight the top name. In boxing, the top name, one can go hide on this promoter, one can go hide on that promoter, one can go hide on that promoter, and they all three can talk about how good they are because they never have to fight each other. That's not what I stand for. So when we create a guy, we don't care who's supposed to be the best, we want you. And if your network don't want to do it, come over here to us. We'll do it.
Any thoughts on the main event tonight?
Yes, man, I just can't wait to see it. It's one of the greatest light heavyweight title fights in the history of UFC, back at 165. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen because nobody but him seems to be able to give Jon Jones a challenge. This is the only guy who I've seen really make Jon Jones have to dig deep. So I can't wait to see this rematch. I can't wait.
Who do you think's going to win?
I don't know. I don't have a clue.
What do you think about Alex's boxing skills?
Huh?
What do you think about Alex Gustafson's boxing skills?
I like the skills. Yeah, I like his boxing skills. Yeah, most definitely.
Boy, all the controversy about Jon Jones and his drug test, does that taint his legacy at all, do you feel?
Well, this time won't change his legacy because it's not like he did it again. They're saying it's just residue from the old test. And I understood what the commissioner's saying in Las Vegas because he don't want to get a lawsuit from somebody else because he let it go through. So it's difficult, but you have to kind of understand people and understand their argument. Nothing will taint the true legacy of who Jon Jones is. You know, people always say, you think the steroids taint their image? I don't think it really taints their image because if steroids made that much difference, anybody could be that good if they just use steroids. Everybody that do it don't be that good. Jon Jones was that, even in the fights that he passed the test on, he was still that good. So now the fights that he fought that he may have tested positive on, yeah, you got to take them away. But that does not destroy or eliminate who Jon Jones really was. Because if steroids made a difference, anybody can go get on steroids and they be able to beat Jon Jones. Not the case. I can guarantee you're going to get 90% of them that fight right now in his weight class and give it to him. And they won't beat him. You understand me? So it's like, I don't think that taints his legacy. I don't like it. And nobody wants to see nobody do things that are illegal. But still, he had to be pretty good in order to get the name he got before that even showed up. You feel me? So.
You mentioned other promoters. Will you be working with other promoters to bring some of their fighters to get better events? Or
Yes.
I'm
the type of guy that I'm doing this because we're doing it for the betterment of boxing. We're not trying to push promoters out. If you're willing to work the way we want to work. Now, you're going to take guys and hide them and not let them fight the big fights, then I don't want to deal with you. Because I don't want to hear about how your guy's so good, but he don't want to fight that guy. No. I want it back to where I was. If you're the best, then you bring me the best. That's what I like about the UFC. If you're the best, they're going to make you fight the other best. That's what it got to be. And in boxing, that's the only way I want to see it. If you're not that good, then don't say it. Because you say it, I take that as you mean it. I'm going to find Godzilla. Crazy to me, bizarre. Because why are we waiting so long? Why are we waiting so long? Were we waiting on somebody to get beat? Which one of them just almost got beat last week? Huh?
How did you score the Fury?
Well, I thought Fury won the fight. But one of them got beat last week, so why are we waiting? You feel me? I mean, it could have went either way. Fury did get dropped twice. But I really thought Fury won the fight. But it all depends on who's looking. But my point is, why are we denying the public the opportunity to see a big fight while we have it on tap? Why are we sticking these other guys in? You almost got beat by the Cuban. Why we keep taking these risks before we get the public what they want to see? It's crazy.
Out of those three, Wilder, Fury, and Joshua, who do you think is the best?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because Fury is probably the smartest. Joshua's probably the most athletic. Wilder probably has the best one-punch knockout power. So it's hard to say who's the best because usually in a situation like that, this guy beats this guy beats this guy, but this guy beats that guy. So it's hard to say who's the best.
Couple more guys. If you would rank the top 3 best boxers right now, who would you say?
My top 3 would be, and I'm not going to put them in order because it's hard to put them in order, but my top 3 right now are Vasyl Lomachenko, Terence Crawford, and Canelo Alvarez.
If you would choose for the dream match, then you can see on Fight Pass, what would you?
Roy Jones Jr. Anderson Silva.
You can make that happen.
We try. I mean, you know, we got to see what Dana's talking about, but we try, you know.
Would you have straight boxing? Or
Straight boxing. I can't do no kicking, I can't do no kicking, I can't do no airborne, I can't do all that, but I can box. I'm an old man, but I can fight.
Who's the best boxer in MMA?
Huh?
Who do you think is the best boxer in MMA?
You know, it'll be between Anderson and Nick Diaz. Nick and Nate Diaz both are very good strikers. Very good strikers. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that really can fight, but those two, I've seen them win the majority of their fights boxing. So, they get more credit in my eyes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all for having me. God bless y'all. Good to see y'all, okay?
I'm on the stage.
Oh, sorry. Makes sense.
Ready? Nathaniel, fantastic performance. I mean, it really felt like in the second round you started really finding your stride there and showing your prowess on the ground. How do you feel overall about the fight and your performance?
I feel great to obviously get the win and get the finish. You know, I was a little bit gutted that I heard some boos. That's not what I want in my fights. You know, in my fights I'm always looking to be an entertainer first and foremost. So, you know, that sucked if I'm honest. But the first round is how I kind of thought it was all going to go. In the second round we ended up on the floor and I knew he had nothing for me there. So, you know, it takes two to tango. And when we was on the ground he was wrapping my arms up. You know, he was holding me onto him. And, you know, there's only so much I can do. If I get to hasty, you know, I might end up getting submitted. So, you know, I done what I needed to do, but I'm just happy to get the finish and the win.
Well, I mean, above the booze, you're an Englishman fighting an American in Los Angeles. I mean, it probably wasn't your performance, or is that what you feel?
I don't know. I think it was the performance because it was, you know, when it was not much was happening on the floor, you know. So, but you know, I hope not. I hope it's not because I'm English.
And the prospect seems to be just the right nickname for you. I mean, you're looking great so far. You got 2 wins. You got another win now in the UFC. Who's next for you?
Whoever the UFC want me to fight, you know, I honestly don't mind. You know, I will fight whoever they give me. So all I need is a name, a date, and a place, and I'll be there.
Maybe you can get that fight in London.
It would be nice, you know. I tell you, like, if there's one guy I want to fight, you know, it would be Chito Vera. You know, we had a bit of back and forth on Twitter. It's all fun and games, but you know that would make sense. But yeah, if Tom Dukamar wants it, you know, but I just hope he doesn't pull out again because, you know, if he's going to pull out over a sore rib every time, then I'm not going to get a fight.
London is where you want to be.
100%. You know, I was just saying that my first ever UFC event that I went to was watching my coach Brad Pickett live, and when I started, you know, I said that's where I want to be. I want to be at the O2, I want to be in the UFC, and I want to represent my country and my hometown. So that for me is a dream come true if I can get on there.
Did any of the location changing this week affect you coming overseas and your family and friends?
It did. You know, it was the time zone messed me up a little bit. I'm not quite used to that. I didn't get to come out too early, so you know, I'm just trying to adjust to the time and the weight cut at the same time. That sucked. Obviously, I was gutted and heartbroken that I wasn't with my family on Christmas Day. You know, seeing them on FaceTime, you know, it wasn't quite the same, but it was all worth it. I got the win, so I'm going to go back and celebrate with them tomorrow.
Was everyone able to make it to LA from Vegas and everything?
The people that came were, but unfortunately one of my best mates, he was actually proposing to his girlfriend in Vegas at the Grand Canyon. So they've done it now, so I'm allowed to say it. But you know, congratulations, Tom, obviously. But yeah, it sucks that they couldn't come because he had already had that booked up.
So now that you coming out of here from a win, you said, you know, you weren't happy about everything, but what are your biggest takeaways from a fight? And you know, the biggest point you think I got to work on this.
If I'm honest, you know, there's not too much that I come away from the fight thinking I need to work on. You know, I'm happy that I came away uninjured. You know, there's been a lot of fights, even when I've got the wins, where I've come out with damage, I've come out with broken noses, and you know, I've busted up my hands, my feet, and whatnot. So I'm fresh, you know, which is perfect, especially if it's that London card's 11 weeks away. But you know, I just come out, I'll be back in the gym after next week, and you know, just whatever my coaches want me to do, I'll work on and just look to get better every day.
I saw a video where after you beat Johnny Eduardo, where it was like you had basically a bar with like looked like your entire home city was there. Do you think is there something similar going on tonight?
Yep, there is. It's my local social club, you know, so everyone in the local area, they go down there and watch it. I'm sure there'll be a video of them going crazy again tonight. So you know, if there is one, I'll be putting it on social media for sure. Amazing. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Sit back this way.
No mercy is right.
Granted, if it was Yoel, I wouldn't be able to do anything about it, but no one likes that.
Obviously, you're known for your leg locks and heel hooks. When he got that, did you feel that he was going to tap?
You never know. Honestly, I didn't expect him to tap because it's BJ, and some people, he's rubbery, and some people just don't tap. His knee popped pretty good. I don't know if it's torn, I'm not sure, but it went like crack, crack, pop, which when you put a heel hook on with pace, a lot of times that can be the result. But I think a big mistake that people make as a grappler getting into MMA is expecting anyone to tap to anything, because that sets you. I've seen so many fights where the jiu-jitsu guy, you know, granted we were both jiu-jitsu guy, but let's say the grappler, you know, puts a grappling style beating on somebody for the first round and puts them in everything under the sun, but then they don't tap, and the person who dealt out the ass whooping gets up looking like, how did this happen? And then the other person, completely unmarked, goes back to their corner, comes out for round 2, and is not playing around. So, you know, honestly, I was ready for the full distance, and but it's nice to get a finish and get out early.
Ryan, before the leg lock, you kicked his leg. Is that part of the combo to get him off balance, or is that just...
I don't think anybody likes getting kicked in the knee, so that's kind of how I thought about it. But I wouldn't like it if you kicked me in the knee. So with that thinking in line, that's what we were shooting for. But it probably couldn't hurt. Yeah.
Was that submission of the year in your opinion?
I
on MMA Twitter saying submission of the year.
Oh yeah, cool. I can't speak to any of that. It is the end of the year, so maybe there's the primacy recency thing. So yeah, that'll actually probably play in our favor. But you know, again, I don't know how they judge those sort of things. I was just happy to get to work on something that my friend Tom Lee over there invented. And that's pretty cool because that's a Taekwondo black belt inventing jiu-jitsu moves, and that was one of the. I was really glad to be able to put into place something that we've been working on together for some time.
Ryan, we see you so infrequently in the octagon. Why is that? Why the long breaks in between fights?
Honestly, you know, there's a bunch of things. I've got stuff going on at home. You know, I actually just had a little boy, which is thank you so much. And you never know what the fight game's unpredictable. You know, sometimes you fight. I remember when I was on Ultimate Fighter, I fought I think 4 times in 3 months, which was pretty neat, but a little much probably, unless you're Donald Cerrone, in which case carry on. But yeah, it's tough. Both people have to sign up, and you know, I've accepted a bunch of other fights, and unfortunately, people were a little bit hesitant to get involved. BJ is not afraid of anybody, and justifiably not afraid of anybody. So that was pretty neat to get to compete against someone both with his skill set and his of course credentials, but also just the mentality that he has. I think you know, I would hope to one day, if I could again pattern just the approach that he's had to saying, you know, he fought Lyoto Machida. That's amazing. He went up, was like, I think I'm going to go to welterweight. That's unbelievable. And the bravery that takes is not to be understated. So ultimately, I would just say that it's hard to say why, but I'm hoping that the trend doesn't continue. Otherwise, I'll probably see you guys in 2023, because it's been 1 year between gray, first one in gray, 2 years gray to this. That'd be like 4 years from now, and that'd be getting a little rough.
Why do you think people are so, don't have desire to fight you?
I can't speak to that. You know, I mean, I want to fight the best people available. I want to fight someone in the top 10 now, or I would like to fight someone in the top 15. And, you know, if people chuckle at that, maybe they do, maybe they don't. Part of the reason they do is because I don't get to fight anybody. And also, if you want to see me get beat up, that's the fastest way to do it. Oh, yeah, definitely a featherweight. I mean, I weighed in for this at 154 without, you know, I'm a featherweight. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to face someone in the top 10, top 15 at the very least. But both, I don't really care about the ranking. I just care about the challenge of the opponent. And again, those guys, I respect them very much. They're very good. I would look forward to facing anybody of that caliber.
Anyone in particular?
You know, I mean, honestly, I come from the martial arts world, and I'm a martial arts guy that can fight at a high level. I'm not a professional fighter, you know, so ultimately I don't like to poke at people. I don't like to disrespect anybody, and even if it's not perceived that way, I know nobody likes getting called out. So ultimately we'll see what happens, but I've got into this for sporting reasons and to see what happens and try to become the best that I can be. So I guess that's all I can say.
I think everyone agrees that BJ Penn is a legend, but I think most people would also agree that he's a bit past his prime and he's in a tough losing streak now. Do you think he should continue fighting, or would people like to see him hang the gloves up?
You know, it's tough. As a fan of his, you know, I feel I can understand both perspectives. You know, obviously he's a little bit older, but also the game has continued to evolve, you know, and unless it's difficult, and it's evolved, we've stood on his shoulders, you know, so no one, it's not as if people could get to where we are without the Fedor Emelian ankles, without the BJ Penns, And I think it's very important to remember that. But it's also tough if everyone's gotten to watch you fight for 15 years and also figure out what you're up to, and then on top of that, copy a bunch of what you're up to still be able to win generation after generation is very challenging. And BJ went through multiple generations of fighters, and I know that he's still got plenty left. It's just the question of whether or not I guess he wants to do that. But I can also understand the perspective for people who say, hey, man, you've done enough already. Why take the risk? Why take the physical toll? But ultimately, telling another person what to do with their life, I'm not very comfortable with that.
So how much preparation did you make when you found out that BJ Penn is the one?
Oh man, I was ecstatic when I found out that I was fighting BJ. I prepared. I had a 4-month training camp because I hadn't fought in 2 years, so I did a bunch of practice fights. I spent probably my entire show paycheck on training camp just to make sure I'm not playing around. You know, win, lose, or draw, I can say that I'll give it my best, and that means there's a financial commitment to doing that. You know, I go to TriStar, train, I bring a bunch of my friends to Virginia, I go here, I go there, I go see Kenny Florian. You know, I was very, very fortunate. I brought a ton of really high-level martial artists to Virginia with me, and then brought some of us from Virginia to TriStar, and you know, there's a financial cost associated with that, but it's something that I'm happy to undertake in order to pursue my best.
Are you calling anybody else?
I'm sorry?
Are you calling out any?
No, I'm just saying I'll fight anybody that's good, and let's go, sign up.
Kenny Florian was going to be in your corner tonight, right?
Yes.
And the change kind of messed with that too, right?
Yeah, that was a shame. You know, Kenny's been coaching me since 2014. He's made an unbelievable difference. I feel like I have the best, you know, at least I'm biased, of course, but the best corner team I could possibly ask for in Faraz Zahabi, Kenny Florian, Ton Lee. These are some of the most introspective and thoughtful people I've ever met in the fight game. I feel incredibly fortunate to have their support. Kenny's been helping. You know, he was the guy that I looked at and I went, hey, I want to be like him. Because he particularly in the era of everyone being on steroids, he wasn't. And he's not overwhelmingly physically powerful, but he went from getting manhandled by Diego Sanchez on Ultimate Fighter in the first one to just improve, and he fought the best. It's an unbelievable thing, and so he's a guy like BJ Penn that I look up to immensely, very much, and would hope to pattern myself after. So I was ashamed that Kenny wasn't able to be here, but you know, we met up last night, we talked constantly. He was definitely, I believe, here in spirit, and I really appreciated that.
Kenny Florian, he's at the Fox Sports studio.
Yeah.
Karen Bryant, Michael Bisbee. Want me to say that he was on his feet the entire time. He's incredibly proud of you.
Oh man, thank you.
He couldn't even sit down.
Oh man, I'm thank you so much.
Excited.
Yeah, Kenny's the best.
Is MMA, is it just a side project for you? Or is this like, are you like, no, this is what I do, this is how I'm gonna make my living?
I like that you imply that I have other bigger things going on. I appreciate that could be the case, but no, I'm not smart enough for that. So we'll no, MMA is one.
Whiskey or anything?
Oh man, I'm trying to get into the game, but it's the seed money, man. It's tough, but you know. I was about to say, if Conor McGregor wants to fight, he can beat me up. I'll take the pitch. But it's absolutely worth it. But and then I hope if he, oh my God, if he misses weight, that'd be the best. Because he's gonna get a bunch. But anyway, yeah. All right, we'll talk later. But oh, you know, I've trained with Conor a little bit. He's amazing, obviously, phenomenal martial artist, and deserves every bit of success he's had. Yeah, I look forward to seeing him come back and fight again if he feels up to it. Yeah, no, it's just I've got other things going on. I have my own gym. I have some other stuff. I try to help my friends in various parts of the world. You know, I've gotten a lot of help from a lot of people to be here today, and I owe it to them to do my best to help as well. But no, MMA is something I take very seriously. But at the same time, I remember being in the jiu-jitsu world. I was good enough to be close to maybe like 80cc top, like not consistently, but like good enough that on a good day I could have won. But it was combination of I didn't always wrestle my best, and other times like the jiu-jitsu world, particularly back then, was like ridiculously corrupt, and so you'd have things taken from you, and it taught me a lot about just controlling what you can control, doing my best. I can't control if I ever fight in the UFC again. I really hope I do. I would look forward to it. I can't control if they cut me tomorrow. I again hope that doesn't happen, but if they do, well, carry on and just do my best to keep improving as a martial artist, and this is just a venue for that. So being UFC champion would not change my life, although it would, I could get a better car. But other than that, like, but on a personal level, like, man, I do this to try to just be my best. That's all I can say.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Okay.
So, yeah, just for a living. I was gonna ask him to clarify, but I was like, I'm just gonna take it that that's what he said.
He's more of a coach. He doesn't really compete as much anymore in tournaments and stuff, so he's just more a really high level coach.
Jim does well.
A new tech. Well, you can go on your device can go on stream one at a time, but yeah, you can set up another but yeah, you can connect to it. Sure, yeah.